gap between episodes 3, Revenge of the Sith, and 4, A New Hope. We are here discussing Claudia Gray's Lost Stars, chapters 1 through 9. Widely held as one of the best entries in the Star Wars canon thus far, Lost Stars is a fresh take on a Star Wars story, exploring the relationship between two individuals on the planet Jalukan. Sienna Ree, a girl of the Valley Kindred, looked on as the lower class in Jalukan society, and Thane Carell, a boy from the city, from a class known as the Second Waivers. What connects them both is their love for flying. On this day, 8 years after Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, and the end of the Clone Wars, Jalukan is being welcomed into the Empire, with a ceremony headed by Grand Moff Tarkin. At this ceremony, Sienna and Thane met each other when they snuck off to get a closer look at Tarkin's Lambda-class shuttle. When Thane tried to save Sienna from some Second Waiver bullying, Tarkin arrived just in time to chase off the bullies. Tarkin showed them around the shuttle and was impressed with their knowledge of the ship and its operation. He encouraged the two of them to study hard in order to be admitted into the Imperial Academy. Now we fast forward 5 years to Thane and Sienna, age 13. The two had become close friends, and they often practiced piloting together. While most children who wanted to learn to fly were practicing with local simulators, Thane's family had an old V-171, which the two used daily to practice, taking turns as pilot and gunner. Of note, there is mention made here about senators who were walking out of the Senate, refusing to cast votes. This would be about 1 or 2 years before the start of Star Wars Rebels, likely giving us a look at the beginnings of the rebellion from a public perspective. When Sienna and Thane were 16, they took the entrance exams for the Imperial Academy, and, to both their surprise, not only did they get into the Imperial Academy, the two were admitted into the Academy on Coruscant, one of the most elite in the entire Empire. When the two arrive, it would seem their personal friendship and budding feelings for each other would be set aside, as their service was to the Empire, not their home planet, nor each other. Their studies were going well, often coming in at the top of their class. They made several friends in the Academy. Probably the most notable is Nash Windrider from Alderaan. One interesting experience that the pair had in the Academy regarded their laser cannon project. When their cannons were being evaluated, Thane's did not power up. It had been sabotaged, and it was made to look like Sienna had done it. However, after some investigating, it was found that the Office of Student Outcomes had set up this deception, showing the first hints and the loose morale that Sienna and Thane would have to face in their time with the Empire. This incident caused a rift between Sienna and Thane, which remained for most of their time at the Academy. A few weeks before graduation, they were invited, along with a number of top students, to a reception ball, which was to be attended by top military officials and dignitaries. At this ball, Princess Leia was even seen, as would have been customary for senators at this time. Do note from a timeline perspective that not too long after this, she was caught by Darth Vader fleeing with the Death Star plans. Sienna and Thane were still drawn to each other, but there was definitely an unspoken conflict that remained until they were able to clear the air that evening at the ball. Sienna was given a command track assignment and the rank of lieutenant, posted to the Devastator, Darth Vader's flagship. Thane was assigned to the elite TIE Fighter ranks and sent to a classified space station. The two separated, knowing that this wasn't the last time. 3 weeks after graduating, Sienna was in her first firefight, chasing a suspected rebel cruiser identified as a Tantive 4. This is the first point in the narrative where we have an overlap with the events of Episode 4, A New Hope. Nash, her Alderaanian friend, also posted to the Devastator, held hope that after a proper investigation, Leia would be cleared of all charges. The Devastator was to make a trip to the Death Star, and Sienna was excited to let Thane know, and that perhaps the two could see each other. Nash Windrider saw that they had reached the planet Alderaan, and was excited to finally show his friends some of the sights of his home planet. However, upon reaching the Death Star, they were all surprised at what came next. They were all made aware of Princess Leia's betrayal, and the punishment was to be felt on all of Alderaan. Moments later, the planet exploded. Sienna and Thane, having not been able to meet up yet, both deal with the destruction differently. Thane seems less loyal to the Empire than he once was, starting to entertain thoughts about the end of his service. Sienna's beliefs told her that she must be loyal to her oath to the Empire, and talks herself into believing that the destruction of Alderaan was a necessary evil in order to save countless Imperial lives, and squash the rebellion. Thane was sent with a squad to Dantooine to scout out a potential rebel base, while Sienna and the Devastator were ordered away from the Death Star. However, the Devastator kept a constant link to the Death Star computers. They were shocked to learn of an attack by a group of small rebel fighters, and all of a sudden, the data feed from the Death Star went silent. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to keep up with all the insight and analysis found here at Star Wars: The Canon Explained. You can also follow us on Twitter or visit us on Facebook. Till next time, may the Force be with you.